Hello, my dear friends. My name is Pedro Gould. You are now tuned into the Alpha Success Network. It is about 4:10 a.m. in the morning, and I literally just got up about 20 minutes, 25 minutes ago. For some reason whatsoever, I got up in the middle of the night. I usually sleep all the way till 6 in the morning, but something was nudging me to get up. And maybe it was the divine urge within me telling me to come over here and be creative and bring some more value to you guys. However, we're going to take a very, very different approach, a very, very different approach today. The approach we're going to take is in the form of a question and answer session. Last week, I got approached by a gentleman on LinkedIn, a gentleman by the name of Mr. Nick Mann, who was impressed with some of the work that I'm actually producing on YouTube. And he said, "Hey, you know what, Mario? I'd like to ask you some questions, as it pertains to productivity, motivation, and all that good stuff, so he can share with his audience." He's got a website, okay, called typoprints.com. That is typoprints.com, where he actually has created a series called Get Motivated. And in this series, he asks questions to people who are living who are living the life that they want. So apparently, Mr. Dickman believes I'm living the life that I want, and I'm going to create some value. So we're going to begin with a question and answer session. And before I do that, let me just give you a little bit of a background of the person that is interviewing me, because I'm a strong believer in spreading the love and spreading value to everybody that you get the opportunity to meet. So before we talk about me, let's talk about this gentleman. This gentleman that reached out to me, his name is Mr. Nick Mann. He's a graphic web designer, a marketer, a blogger, a motivator. And his main focus is he creates brands for business owners, nonprofits, and for dreamers. So if you are in that category and you're looking for some work, probably you want to reach out to him. So as I said, his website is typoprints.com. Once again, that's typoprints.com. And he makes motivational typographic posters. Super, super cool website. He's got t-shirts, he's got hats, he's got everything to do with motivation. So if you have a chance, have a look at that. So let's delve into the question and answer session, and let's see what we can whip up over here. So he sent me some message on LinkedIn. I'm just going to download that. So here we go with the question and answer session. So first of all, it says, "Hey, what's your name? My name is Pedro Gould." I got some people reaching out to me on Facebook and asking me if that is my real name. So it's interesting. I do not know why they think that that's an alias. And it says, "What's your business or what's your occupation about?" You see, this is a very interesting question that you ask me, because it's usually when I talk to people, I find that it's difficult for me to answer them because they really cannot comprehend what it is that I'm saying. But let me try and simplify it here as much as possible. I look at myself as an entrepreneur. I look at myself as a businessman. And when I say that I look at myself as a businessman, it means that I'm not involved in one specific business. Actually, I am running multiple business enterprises. Okay? So my focus is two main industries. Number one is international trade. I'm building an import and export company, and the import and export company has got a vision of being a global organization that focuses on a wide variety of different product ranges from different parts of the world. So we're talking about business in Canada, involved in lentils with a vision to get into potash. We're talking about business in Asia, where we're going to get into clothes. We're talking about business in South America. We're talking about business in Africa. So that is one focus of my business. And I have been lucky enough to build an infrastructure, an enterprise whereby I have the right people working for me. And my role is more of a leadership role and capital funding role. Pretty much, I finance my businesses. That's number one. A second business that I'm involved in very heavily right now is a network marketing, also known as a multi-level marketing business, which the focus is the distribution of health and nutritional products. So those are the two main industries that I'm in right now, but I have other businesses that I'm investing in, that I'm building, in the technology arena, and just several different projects that I have on the go. So, what is your business? What is your occupation? I'll just say I'm an entrepreneur and I look for business opportunities that are in alignment with my knowledge, skills, and abilities, and and I have a passion for. And I usually just jump in and make some moves. What does your average work day look like? This is a very, very interesting question because it goes against the grain again. My average work day is I'm living the life that I dreamt about a few years ago, ladies and gentlemen. Typically, my first 6 hours of my day is a gift to myself. Okay, so if I get up at 6 o'clock, I get up at 7 o'clock. Between 7 and 1 p.m., I'm usually not going to do anything other than look after my body, mind, and soul. So typically, I'm going to get up and do a meditation session. Okay, and then I'm going to have some lemon water, hot lemon water, and then I'm going to do some stretching, about an hour. I stretch my upper body, stretch my lower body, just right here in my living room, or maybe go for a yoga class. And then I'm going to head off to the gym, do some push ups, some pull ups, some crunches, just work on my body, right? Working on my body, mind, and soul. Somewhere in between there, I'm going to do some personal growth and development reading. Usually just a few pages. I read a few pages of some information that I can use for this day that is progressing. For the day that is happening, I'm going to read some information that I can use on that day. And typically, I'm going to go out, into Vancouver. I love going to get some tea at a local cafe. I love going to get my juices. I love going to get my smoothies. Just getting my body and my mind in the right state. So once I have spent those first 6 hours, it turns about 5, 6 hours. The afternoon, I may focus on my network marketing business. This is getting to meet with individuals who I'm working with in my business or who I have approached to do business with, customers, clients, or potential business partners. And it's not very, very structured. I usually just tend to go with the flow. So I may have 2 meetings here, I may have 3 meetings here, I may have 4 meetings here, I may have no meetings here. And then I go out and just have fun doing the things that I'm passionate about, but also networking. So I'll go out into the community and maybe I'm involved in basketball, maybe I'm involved in paddleboarding, maybe I'm involved in kayaking. And in those environments, I actually get to network and meet with like minded individuals. When the winter time comes, I'll have a more structured networking approach whereby I'll go to business functions. I'll be involved in business organizations where I'm going to meet people who can be potential business partners that I can work with in the future, or pretty much potential clients. So pretty much that's what I do in the afternoon. It's very, very relaxed. I have a lot of time freedom and I have financial freedom in my life that allows me to move at my pace, on my lane. Typically at night, I love going out for dinner. I'm a huge dinner fan. But somewhere around the 10 o'clock mark is when I usually get down at home and do some work on the computer. So I could spend a couple of hours doing some work on the computer, whether it's reaching out to customers, reaching out to potential business partners, having meetings with my team, in Africa, Skype meetings with people that are working for me in my businesses in Africa. This usually happens between 9 and 11 p.m. And then typically I read some books, go to bed, and just get up and do it again. So life is phenomenal. I'm having a wonderful time right now, ladies and gentlemen. Life is phenomenal. So, what's the hardest part about your work? Very, very interesting question. To me, I never look at things as hard. I don't think it's the hardest part of my work, and maybe it's to do with my wiring. I have a background in electrical engineering, coupled with a background in business, or maybe it's just the way I was born. Let me say that I'm a natural born problem solver, okay, because I had this instinct even before I got to engineering school. When I look at something that's a challenge, something that's difficult to do, I just reverse engineer it and think of all the different ways that I can solve it. I get excited by things that people call difficult. So for me, Mr. Nick Mann, I won't say there's a hardest part about my work. I'll tell you what is the hardest part. The hardest part is life. That's what I call the hardest part. Even though I'm having a phenomenal time in life, I think life is hard for a lot of us, trying to figure out our way, in this plane. For myself, I'm a very, very spiritual person. And I just so happen to be the kind of individual who knows where he's from. I know my spirit world, my invisible world. And for some reason whatsoever, when my spirit compressed itself and became my body, I still feel like I'm more comfortable in my home. That is where I came from. So my spirit hasn't really completely figured out and comfortably integrated itself into this plane that I call Earth. So this is what I consider hard for me. But I'm having a phenomenal journey here. Okay? Let's see if that answers your question. Let's move on to the next question. You said, what keeps you motivated? Someone asked me this question last week. What keeps you motivated, Mario? And it's two things that actually keep me motivated right now. Number one, let me see if I can explain this to you in a way that you'll actually understand it. So we're going to talk about it in different ways. What keeps me motivated is my soul, my spirit. Okay? My soul and my spirit has always had this energy within it, like it wants to do something. My soul really animates my body, it animates my mind, it animates my emotions. I've always had that, I'm ready to go and do something, I'm ready to go and do something. So usually for me, I have to kind of try to hold back sometimes because my soul is so active, it's so excited, it just wants to go and do things. Okay? So I will call that um, inspiration. Okay, it comes from within me. I don't get motivation from outside of me usually, except for one source right now. I don't get motivation from outside of me. It's just a natural part of my inner being wanting to express itself in this physical plane that we call Earth. The second place I get motivation from right now, believe it or not, is I get motivation from my YouTube channel, the Alpha Success Network. I started making videos about 3 or 4 years ago, and right now, I'm just happening to uh, pretty much put my videos together in a way that I can package it and present it to the world, because that was never an option before. I was just focused on other things and then I just make a video. But as I'm actually going through the videos, from 4 years ago, I'm actually listening to the principles that I was espousing at that specific time. I was talking about things that need to be done mentally, emotionally, physically, financially, socially, the knowledge, skills, and abilities that need to be developed so one can become a more powerful, empowered, transformational being. I was talking about these things 4 years ago. And ladies and gentlemen, as I was talking about those things 4 years ago, my life has become the realization, the manifestation, the demonstration of those things that I was talking about a few years ago. So I go back to my videos and listen to what Mario Pedro Gould was saying, and I'm like, damn, that stuff is real, really applicable. So I get a lot of motivation from listening to my own messages, because my messages, I have always felt, are divinely inspired. They come from a higher source, and therefore they're jewels of wisdom. Now, what is the best productivity method that works for you, Mario? Um, I'm a big believer in focused effort as opposed to working for a long duration of time. And I stumbled upon productivity when I was doing my MBA program, which is a very, very challenging program. And I decided to do it within 1 year span of time. And in that 1 year span of time, I realized for me to be productive, my body, mind, and soul have to be working very, very, very efficiently, so that when I choose to sit down and solve a problem, I can do it with very, very focused effort. So my number one productivity tool has to involve with what are the things I'm actually doing before I do what I need to do. Okay, so before I get into a work situation at night, having my Skype meetings, before I go for a networking function, I take time, like I told you, the first 5, 6 hours, I take time to nurture myself. I work out, I meditate, I stretch my body, I do yoga, I eat nourishing foods. I happen to be a vegan. Food is a big aspect of my life. I take a lot of time for rest and relaxation and doing things that I am passionate about. Paddleboarding, walks out in nature, hiking, climbing mountains, uh, kayaking. I do so much to give to myself, ladies and gentlemen, that when it actually comes time to get down and work, it's so hard to describe. Genie, the just magic just comes out of me. Magic just comes out of me because I have taken the time and shown myself a significant amount of self-love and self-care. Okay, so the number one productivity tool that I would share with you for me is self-love and self-care. Taking good care of myself, because that allows me to put in 2, 3 focused hours of work, and I accomplish things that people do not accomplish in a week. In 2 hours, I accomplish things that people don't accomplish in a week. How do you recharge? You see, I live a very different lifestyle. It's not like I go to work 9 to 5 and I need to recharge. My whole life is balanced in terms of recharging. I'm always recharging. Whether it is doing yoga, whether it's doing meditation in the morning, whether it's doing stretching, whether it's going out into nature, I consciously and intentionally put in rest, repose, and recharge within my day, because I realize that my number one asset is my health in terms of my physical body and peace of mind. And something fun that I like doing, once in a while, I love jumping into a movie theater and just sitting over there and entertaining myself. Okay. What is the best advice that you've ever heard? What is the best advice that you've ever heard? You know what? I'll say probably the best advice that I've ever heard, that is actually a fabric of my own life, comes from the late Tupac Amaru Shakur, who passed away in 1996 at the tender age of 25, the greatest rapper ever alive. He used to say something like this: keep it real, even if it kills you, something like that. Pretty much, he was so real and so authentic, and he went out into the world and he didn't care what people thought about him. He just kept it real. He would tell you what was on his mind. He would say what's on his mind. And that's something that I very much resonated with in my own life. Very much resonated with it. So much so that my whole life is a testament of keeping it real. You know what I'm saying? So when I'm going about building my businesses with people that I'm working with, I'm keeping it real with them. When I'm interacting with people in society, I'm keeping it real with them. When I'm interacting in social media, making videos, doing Facebook posts, I'm keeping it 100% real as fuck. I don't care about what people think about me, because my destiny, my future, my vision is all in my hands. So I'm gonna be true to myself, and as a result, I'm gonna be true to the world. So I'll say the greatest, best advice that I've ever had is keep it real. Keep it real, keep it real. And this is to you, my audience. Keep it real because this is the true essence of self-love. Now, here's a very deep question that he asked me that I really wanted to get into. He said, what is something that you haven't had said but is worth mentioning? What is something that you haven't had said but is worth mentioning? Beautiful question. Beautiful question. Something that is worth mentioning, ladies and gentlemen, is you are a god. You are a goddess. Recognize your divine heritage. So I wholeheartedly believe, ladies and gentlemen, I wholeheartedly believe that I am a god that has manifested in the physical form. And I believe that all of you watching this should really, really come to that realization, hopefully before you pass away onto the next plane. Because when you realize that you are a god, life becomes absolutely beautiful. We have been somehow sold on the fact that we are limited beings. And this notion that we are limited physical beings is the number one source of a lot of pain, suffering, and misery in this world, because we believe that we are not good enough. I am not into religion, but I do remember Jesus somewhere saying that if you believe these things that I do, you will do them too, even more. So Jesus was saying you have the capacity to do more things than him if you believe. If you look at the beginning of the Bible, like I said, I'm not a religious person, but I'm just talking about what I've seen in the Bible. He says we are made in the image and likeness of him. Well, what does that mean? You're made in the image and likeness of God. If you're made in the image and likeness of God, you must be a God. The drop in the ocean is the ocean. So I love that question. I love that question. What is one thing that you haven't said but's worth mentioning? Is that I am a god. You are a god. Goddess. God, goddess, God, goddess. So that brings us to the end of the question and answer session here today, my dear friends. And I do hope you have picked up one or two tools that you may use on your journey. And just like we began, I'd like to finish this Q&A question by referring you, my dear friends, back to Mr. Nick Mann, who sent these questions to me. Nick, last name Mann. I'd like to encourage you to have a look at his website, typoprints.com. That is typoprints.com. If you are interested in one of two things: motivational typographic posters, number one, or number two, if you just want to listen to, he's got a series called Get Motivated, where he asks other phenomenal people questions about how they are living the life that they want. There you go, my dear friends. Have yourself a spectacular weekend.